All right, boys and girls, this is going to be one of the most important videos I ever do on this channel ever. Let's get real. We're going to get real. We're going to get raw. I'm always real and raw. So a lot of you guys know, but I don't know if you really know what's been going on in my life. Okay, ever since before I started this channel and really got going. And we're going to get real. We've been digging deep. Got with Kong. Just went to Rare Evo. Met BitBoy. Spent a lot of time with BitBoy. We're going to talk about that. That's coming. Spent my number one focus. Connect with Kong. Get myself straight. Get my headspace right. We're going to talk mental health today. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I'm going to give you guys a little, try not to go too long, on backstory coming up on what's been going on in my life, okay, and what's to come. And it was awesome, just to tell you guys. It's awesome. Good things going. So, but we're going to get real. Here we go. So, went to Rare Evo. Awesome event. My number one focus, connect with Kong. Get myself straight. Focus on what are we going to do? There's so many things going on. My head's spinning. There's so much happening. I don't even know what to do, where to start, where to go. Okay. And it was a time for me for focus. Bring focus on exactly what we're going to do, where we're going to go. Okay. And also connect with Kong. All right. Who's just, here's what's been going on is that it's like ever since I started this YouTube channel and got going, which I had no care or concern or drive whatsoever to be anything or do anything, okay, other than just be a help and a blessing. Okay. And we're going to get to it. It's just like the heavens or something. It's like calling me to do this. And I needed that. All right. And what we're going to do, what is Crypto Grady going to do with his life? Okay. It's a come to Jesus time. That's what this was. From the moment I left the house, got on the plane, and the whole time we were there, it was focused for me. Okay. And it turned into that with Kong. I mean, Kong was just pumped to get out and, just awesome as he always is. Okay. And awesome times there. Connected with BitBoy, connected with AJ, like one of BitBoy's right-hand man. A lot, several times, like every day we were there. And I was like, yeah, he was like one of my top guys to get, to meet. I was going to try and Loudmouth was going to get me in, Loudmouth brought it up. It's going to get me in there, connect with AJ and get me on around the blockchain. That was like one of the goals. And in my mind, I thought that's going to be a hustle. It's going to be a grind. I'm going to have to connect and weasel and, get in there and just hustle my way in there. All right. Didn't happen that way. Thanks to Kong. A couple of weeks ago, Kong, saw a tweet and a bunch of you guys, Sticks Intern and Kong and Zellies with DFK Helper and, went in there and gave me these big shout outs. And then he invited me out of the blue. I get a message from DZ asking to come on around the blockchain. Well, okay. Wow. So it just like happened. And then not only being on around the blockchain once, by the way, the day after the next Crypto Gym airs, also the day before, September the 6th, Wednesday. And then the next Crypto Gym airs on September the 7th. And then the day after on September the 8th. Okay. We're going to be on around the blockchain. All right. So that was like a check. Done. But I still wanted to connect with those guys. AJ, DZ, met DZ. Okay. Totally, always connected with Loudmouth, baby, and his wife. And he's just the bomb. Good heart. Good dude. We're going to talk about him and how all that was phenomenal. And then a Spaces tonight, also getting on a Spaces tonight, 10 p.m. Central, Grady time. We're going to be on there, on a Spaces talking about what's been going down, I think. And also this rogue bunnies, like what's going on here? All right. Met Cassius. Love that guy. Met him in Decentral Miami. Dreamer introduced me to him. Awesome dude. He was out there rapping, just like he's always out there rapping on, Altcoin Daily. He did a rap for them, was on their channel, and he's been out there. Gosh, the blonde broker connected with Crypto Wendy O. Not the first time, but it's good that really connected with her, there. Okay. All these things going on. All right. So we're going to get to all that. My number one focus is to get myself in the right place, the right headspace, because we all know I'm crypto's number one shit show. All right, right here. Mental head case, mindlessly irresponsible degenerate, right here. All right. Now we joke about all this a lot, but really, guys, it's not a joke. All right. Let's dive a little bit into Crypto Grady's life and how it led up to when I started the channel, and then what has transponded since then. All right. So I grew up outside of Kansas City, out there, Missouri, not far from the Chiefs Stadium, baby. Football's going. Got so many different things we can talk about on so many different levels. Okay. And my dad was not a dad. He's an awesome guy. He was my drill sergeant. He wasn't my dad, and still to this day isn't my dad. He's not a dad. And he says, son, he always says it, I'm your dad. I'm not your friend. And it's like, whoa, wait, it took decades to realize, no, Dad, you're not my dad. All right. And so there's all kinds of issues. I was just nuts. He raised me like a tin soldier, baby. All right. All your shit together. You work hard. You grind. All right. And that's what he does. He's 80 years old, still working 80 hours a week, grinding, makes his bed perfectly every day. He actually was a drill sergeant. Okay. And architectural engineer, big brains, psycho, my dad. All right. And raise me with the whip, driving you with the whip. All right. And that causes, as you're a young man trying to grow up, oh, how deep? I'm going to keep this brief, guys. Okay. So, and here's the story of my life. It was like I was an athlete. I was always the fastest, the strongest, the biggest stud, the captain of the football team. Still hold to this day, the swimming records, all this high school records that I had in my high school, which is one of the biggest in the state of Missouri. Okay. All-state swimmer, swam at Mizzou. All right. But I was actually a basketball player and a football. It was my life. And I don't know if there's very many people on this earth who was more prepared than I was. Morning and night, rain or snow, I was out there shooting, and I was a baseball player. But my best sport was probably football, but I just hated it. Okay. And I was the star always growing up. But my headspace, I was a late bloomer. Okay. And okay. All right, boys and girls, I'm purposely not looking at the comments. I'm Mr. Rabbit Trail right here. Okay. And story of my life was everybody knew I was the hardest worker. I don't know if there's a single person on the earth through their sophomore year of high school had shot more baskets on the planet than I had. All growing up, grade school, junior high, high school, rain or snow, 3 a.m. I'm out there still. The neighbors are always getting pissed. I'm just always shooting. Boom. Okay. And always what ended up happening, and baseball was similar. All right. And coaches, they just never would believe in me. It's weird. It was always so weird. And so I had to just start my own team. And even if it was with all the rejects, I didn't care. I rooted for the underdogs. I brought them up, and I would kick their ass growing up, baby. We did that. Yeah. My 8th grade year in basketball, for example, we basically just started our own team. I said, F you guys. And I was with a bunch of 7th graders, and man, we took down the best teams. Okay. Just balled them. All right. And even though we weren't at all the best. Okay. And so then high school comes, and it was just weird. The coaches just didn't believe in me. And it got so weird. Well, as time went on, then I said, F it. I quit basketball and just went to swimming because the time is your judge, not the coaches and all the politics and all the BS. And I should have run track and cross country. So I'd have the school records there too. In junior high, I had the school record in the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, the 400-meter dash, the 800-meter dash, the mile, and I broke the record in cross country. Had it all. Had every school record, baby. All right. And so, but my headspace, like I didn't even know it. That's what was so weird. And I was always like, trying. And it was like socially I was cool, but it was like I was always, just friends with everybody, weird stuff. Okay, time goes on. I come to Jesus, become a hardcore preacher, memorize the Bible through most of my high school years. All right, even that. And that was kind of a process there, but got real hardcore my junior, senior, especially my senior year. And it was a hard crash though, because my life was sports was my life. And here's what started in the life of Grady Gamble was the breaking of Grady Gamble. Because it was magical. It was all the time, in sports or whatever I was doing, it was like magic would happen. And, but then here's what happens. The magic happens, you get broken. It's like a universal rule. Pride comes before the fall. It's like a universal rule. That's where we're going to come back to Ben, big, bit boy, which this is all crazy going on. I know there's a lot of haters out there. I think most of it is false hate against Ben. Okay. But we're going to talk about this. This is a universal rule. Pride comes before the fall. And if you haven't experienced it yet, if you're successful and you're kicking ass, guess what? It's coming. And it comes hard. All right. And you'll even get to where you're losing your mind. And I'm not talking about the shady folks. And it's possible. Nothing would surprise me these days with Ben. Okay. I don't think he's some big scammer or anything like that. Like, I'm not talking about somebody like Sam Bankman-Fried, who's just shady and got caught. No, that's not what we're talking. We're talking about people with a big heart, legit, with vision, blazing a trail. All right. That happens. You blaze that trail. All right. You get puffed up. The pride comes before the fall. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It's the universe or Jesus, whatever you want to call it. Pride always comes hard before the fall. And this is the story of my life. My whole life, pride always comes before the fall, even if it always seemed like people knew me for like my humility. Like, you would have thought I'm the nicest, most humble guy in the world. All right. But it's the pride is here. Okay. And so thus starts the life of Grady Gamble getting broken, because I was like living this crazy supernatural life, right? Going into my senior year, and then boom, broken, knocked hard on my face. Going to college, we swam for Mizzou. All right. And I had all these visions. Okay. Revival. I was a preacher, remember? Hardcore. Revivals coming to Mizzou. I was out there street preaching all the time, high school too, and then into college, street preaching, and started a little movement in college. All right. We had at one point, I'd get together all the guys and I was discipling them. Okay. And I was an evangelist and I'd go street preaching every single day, multiple times a day, at least once, usually 2, 3, 4 times. I'm out there street preaching, and the magic really started happening. People right before my eyes, several a day would just get born again. Boom. All right. It was like magic. And there's so much more to the story. I could literally take 50 hours to share this, not going to. All right. But I'd go street preaching, and it wasn't, hey, pray this prayer and accept Jesus. No, it was, are you willing to hate father, mother, wife, children? Yes, even your own life. Take up your cross daily and die daily and sell everything you own and give it all away and follow Jesus. That's the cost. Count the cost. Yes. The answer was yes. Dozens of times, oftentimes even a day. The magic. people getting born again, people getting baptized. At one point, okay, it became such a thing that, like 30 of us, we'd pray, we'd get in there and pray, all right? And God was moving, and we go out preaching, and people born again, left, right, and center. We started campus ministry in Mizzou. I quit the swim team. I drop out of school, okay, even, all right? And what happened? Pride comes for the fall. It all came to nothing. I was crushed. I was broken, okay? But here's what happened. It's like an onion, okay? You get broken, you get more and more broken. Okay, if you don't totally get broken, if you don't die from that, okay, then there's hope. Okay, and you can come back stronger, more seasoned, wiser, okay, more full of love, more full of grace, not so much cracking the whip. Okay, I'm on Pharisees Anonymous here. Okay, at this point, I'm realizing I was judging people. Okay, and I was forcing people to conform to my way, drinking my Kool-Aid, my soul power. All right. And I was pressuring people. And that's how Satan works. I learned all these lessons the whole way through, time and time again, and then, it was like this knockdown moment. I got married. Okay. And the first woman I ever kissed in my life at the time, it was my wife on my wedding day, first kiss. And I was Mr. Popular. I mean, I had plenty of opportunities, but I was like hardcore, kept it straight. Okay. And that was weird though. I thought, I wasn't attracted to her. Okay. But I thought God told me to marry her. And it seemed like that was one of the most realest, truest things in my life. But there was red flags there happening. And, and I couldn't hear the red flags. I couldn't hear because I was so confident and dogmatic. Okay. Thought I knew. God told me to marry her. That's what I'm going to do. All right. And I wasn't broken. I wasn't humble. But still made it work. We had that image, right? Even, what was weird is that like she had her own like abuse issues growing up too. And it was a bad combination. Okay. But we made it work. We had 5 kids. Okay. And with 0 sex life, we won't get into that. All right. And, and we were the model family. I mean, perfect kids, perfect family. We're giving everybody advice, marriage counseling right here. Okay. All pride, boom, every time. And every time you think you're broken. Okay. And that it's like an onion getting unpeeled and unpeeled and unpeeled and unpeeled. All right. And so, I really had to get broken, especially towards my poor wife at the beginning of our marriage. I'm Mr. Missionary, Mr. Out there all the time. It's just psycho, preaching nuts, the output of my life. I can't even put it to words. All right. And, and so, that crashed and burned at Mizzou. Then I moved to St. Louis, okay, to do inner city ministry. I was a rapper, baby. Okay. And that didn't last. That crashed and burned. Had a guy in there living with us, disaster, discipling people all the time, homeless, living with us all the time, sold everything I owned twice, gave it all away, prayed on my knees in the closet, 4 to 6 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 years on my knees. Street preached every single day. It was like, and I would witness magic happening. All right. And then soon thereafter, it would come to nothing. And a breaking would come again. Broken. And I was never one to fake it. So I would wear it right on my sleeves, high highs and low lows. I wouldn't fake it. All right. I wasn't that kind of guy at all. There was no hypocrisy as far as I knew in my mind, no purposeful hypocrisy. It was legit. I was in my mind at times, I'm God's right-hand man. All right. And then boom, broken, all the way to the point where I thought, man, I found this guy down Southeast Missouri, down here, out in the middle of nowhere. We moved from the inner city of St. Louis, where I'm working as a UPS supervisor. Okay. And my boss, of course, even though I had the best line with the most efficient, the best numbers, which what they're all about, always, you know, Mr. Faithful, the best, always. My boss hated me and would come chew me out all the time. It was just nuts. Okay. And then I applied to be like a full-time on salary manager, and he like denied me. And I was like, all right. And then right at that same time, I'm moving down to Fredericktown, Missouri, to Patton, Missouri. Literally not even a dot on the map. Okay, middle of nowhere, but God was moving through this guy, and I connected with him. And this guy had also been through a lot related to him. And this guy was like Mr. Soul Power. And I just was like, man, he's so full of grace. He's just like me in my mind. He's just like me, except he's not a Pharisee. He's full of love. He's just as hardcore, you know, and I had all these stipulations, but God was breaking me down and went through this long series of breaking with him. And then we started another movement, what became like a movement. People were moving from all over the world to come, and we just right there on his property, we build a church. And we had like hundreds of people, and somebody would move there, and we just build them a house. We just built, you know, we'll just build you a house. We're always praying, serving, like humble. Okay. And then, okay, long story short, I start my insurance agency at the same time. I was also doing missionary work in India. I was in India, real tight with this guy, Zach Poonen, out there. He's building churches, doing all this. Okay. And, you know, the pastor that I looked up to as a father and his son as a brother, like literally hard, like family, and so many others in that church. Okay. They were like, you can't really explain the output. Like the output going on was so insane. Starting the agency, and it was just like supernatural. And it was so crazy that all day, every day, I started my insurance agency in my single wide mobile home in Patton, Missouri. Okay. And my flip phone was the agency phone, my personal cell. And at all times throughout the day, it got to where with no marketing, hardly at all, at all times throughout the day, in the middle of nowhere, I always had at least one person on the phone at all times, usually two people, or one person on call waiting. I'm like selling a policy, and then servicing a policy. Two people at one time I'm talking to, and just boom. And I'm doing all the secretarial work too, because it's just me and just trying to make it. Had to fork out 30 grand to start the thing. And it was such a grind, to the point like my wife couldn't even come in and ask me, do you want lunch? It was a thumbs up or thumbs down. No time to even, do you want lunch? Yes or no. It was that intense all the time. Number one salesman in the country. All right. And we're building houses, or we're cutting wood for somebody. And, you know, the only time I wasn't working was, you know, I'd only work like a half day on Sunday, because church, and then Wednesday night was also, but then when I got back, it was just till 3 a.m. and then back at it at 8 a.m. Like the earliest thing shut down in that office was like midnight, and usually way beyond midnight. Okay. And all day, every day for 2 years straight. Christmas, we're selling policies. Thanksgiving, we're selling we're traveling, we're visiting family, we're selling policies everywhere we go, all the time. And just became, and before that, also had a car dealership that became really successful. Okay. On eBay. All right. And even getting to that, it was such a grind to just get the opportunity to be able to open an agency, because you have to have an in. And there was just one guy finally decided to believe in me. And he said he was nuts to do this, but I'm going to give this guy a shot. All right. And he did. And then always, like, it was this big celebration story all the time. He called me the ultimate Cinderella man. Now I'm speaking at business conferences. I'm like the all-star insurance guy. All right. Top guy, top salesman across the board, okay. Not just for personal lines insurance or, I'm talking across the board, nationwide, home and auto, top sales guy. All right. And I'm like a rock star, and I'm the preacher, and I'm the missionary. And I've got the model family. Everything's perfect. Boom. You get knocked right down flat on your face every time. And I thought I was seasoned. I thought I was broken. I thought I was humble. It's just like the way the universe works. I can't explain it. All right. And then went through this season of like, I guess God isn't real. All right. Kind of went atheist. And then after that, it was divorce, because you finally start working through your issues and stop burying them under, like how you ought to be, and my ex-wife having to deal with all of her issues too, from growing up, and abuse and all kinds of stuff. And we were the last family on earth. Everybody was so shocked we go through divorce, and it was like really traumatic. And okay. And then, but I was like determined to do right by her. And I think she would say that, she'd acknowledge that now. But at the time, she was like a fighter. She was fighting for herself. And I was just being vulnerable and generous and cool. No lawyers. Didn't want to do all that. Didn't want to get lawyers involved. And give her the moon. Just gave her the moon. Gave her the house. I just bought her, before that, the dream house. Like in my mind at the time, it was the dream house. Not, it was a nice house still. She's there. All right. And but she was like in this survival mode, and didn't know how to process things out. And so like she got down to where she couldn't even like make a phone call because of like anxiety or something. Okay. And so she always thought, I was going to pull a fast one on her. And so she would then initiate a backstab. Okay. And that was a rough time going through that divorce. I'll tell you what. And in the meantime, what was happening is my oldest daughter, okay, who was like, we were like two peas in a pod, best friend. She would call me her best friend, like even to her best friends at school. Her dad was her best friend. And she wanted to be an actress. I was super dad. I was total super dad, plugged in to the kids. I was so deep and plugged in, to the kids. And I had to be broken. I was such a drill sergeant, just like my dad was to my kids. And I was so hard on my kids. And then I remember just being broken and bawling, being convicted of that. And okay. And, so I do things and try to be the best dad in the world. Take her to Disney World. I was like, I could have started a business chauffeuring people on how to best be most efficient and get the most out of Disney World when it's just a circus out there. And she just had the time of her life and wanted to become a Disney actress. Okay. And she was magical. I'll tell you what. And so boom, we check it out. We go up there to St. Louis, and she joins this agency, this acting agency. And then we go to their big, where all the actors and actresses are found. You go compete at this thing on different levels. And lo and behold, she was like one of the best ones there. We had all the agents and all the managers lined up. We had to make hard choices on who we were going to select to be her manager and agent. We found the best, perfect, most phenomenal manager to groom her to become a Disney actress who had all the connections. And then her agent, she had 3 agents. Her main agent in LA was the same agent of Johnny Depp and Miley Cyrus. Okay. And then the Chicago agent was the same agent for what's that doll? The famous dolls, American Girl. They wanted her to have her own doll for American Girl. Okay. And she was just gifted at it. Okay. And everything's going where, we're doing all these, going to LA all the time, doing all this. And it was just really good too. Like, I know you hear, so this is what started happening. My ex-wife started hearing about whatever, all the horror stories that go on in Hollywood. Well, not now. It's like lockdown central. And her manager was like a mom to her. And she wasn't very close to her real mom. All right, that was the problem. And her real mom got, jealous and concerned about that and got all her advice and from her people. But it was like wholesome, very wholesome. You learn discipline, you learn everything good and wholesome there. There was no risk of anything bad. Okay. As far as like getting, all the horror stories that you hear at the time. And I was always there. Everything, always. She's never not by my side. Okay. Well, so she's applying, she's applying to be the star, the featured star of a major motion picture. And she's the finalist of 3. And all of a sudden her mom, freaks out, just doesn't want her to do it. Okay. And we're also talking about needing to go to LA for longer periods of time. And so trying to figure out other options for homeschooling or, because school, it was tricky. It was hard to just fly. Like we had to be on call to just be there all the time to do these auditions. Okay. And we were in super tight with the Disney casting president, or the vice president of Disney casting, like the one in charge, basically, that calls it in personal relationship, like deep. And then it was just like war with my ex-wife. And she was just like, not going to have it. And you couldn't read. There was no reasoning with it. Okay. So all this hard work that she put into that. All right. And then, so it goes to court, and my daughter she got so discouraged from it. Okay. That she just kind of gave up. And that, I don't even know where to start with that, but we were still tight. But I had just gone through the divorce, and long story here, was so desperate for a girl at the time. It was almost like I was a 35-year-old virgin at the time. Okay. And was so desperate for a girl, successful millionaire GQ body, absolute GQ body, hardcore nuts. Okay. And couldn't pick up a girl for the life of me. It was like, and it became such a focus and a passion was to help guys in dating, because I started, it took 4 years full time. I'm like becoming a pickup artist guy here now at this point. And it was like, and I started a YouTube channel actually called The Nature of the Beast. Never put out a video, but had all these plans to do so. I'm still running the insurance company at the time. Well, okay. And got to where I went from being the strikeout king with girls. Okay. And it was, I can't even express, that's a whole nother separate video, the trauma that was in my life from that. I can't even express it. All right. 2, so like not even being able, like Mr. Strikeout King, couldn't pick up a girl for the life of me, to like over years and years of, I was going to figure this thing out or, there's nothing going to stop me. I was going to figure this thing out. And so I got to where I had girls had tons of girls living here, even all the time, girls in and out. At one point I had 4 girls living in here for a real short time. Okay. And, that caused problems with the kids. And then, one of the girls living here, like she went from being like a lesbian that I was always still have my core values driving me. Always wouldn't lie to the girl, wouldn't bullshit the girl, and did my best at the time to not do wrong by them. So would to help take care of them, help get them out of debt, get them back into school, get their lives back together. This one girl, meet her. She's she's at the bottom of the barrel. Okay. And we just connected, but I wasn't like into her. Okay. And she was like a lesbian, but then that all changed. And she it started out where she was like, sort of like a housemaid, sort of. And I was just giving her a place to stay. She didn't even have that, and helping her get her life back in order. To like she just became really integrated into our family, like deep. But I was always trying to break up with her because I realized, oh man, she just always wanted to get married, and just, that happens. And a woman, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Learn some of these along the way. Okay. And when that happened, finally got her out of the house. She actually moved into my ex-wife's house, and she was like my oldest daughter's best friend. And then my oldest daughter, like, and this girl was just spreading so much hate. She still had my car. She still had my credit card. I was still taking care of her, but finally, was able to break up with her because I just knew that it wasn't going to go anywhere and it was going to break her heart. But man, she got so salty against me, and I was a douche too, but I still, was honest with her and did right by her. And I would even try and make it work with her, and just kept realizing, no, not going to happen. Okay. And then so I didn't realize how she was just out there maliciously, slandering me as hardcore. All right. Even to where it's affecting my business, my companies that I was representing. Okay. In the insurance company at the time, and with my ex-wife, and especially with my oldest daughter. And my oldest daughter cut me off. Boom. And it was so devastating. And then I tried, I was like, I'm your dad. And I fought for her. Okay. And I even got a lawyer and told my ex-wife, like, we're going to court again. And long story there, died. I had to let that one go and try and move on. And it was right around that time also where I kind of like came back to Jesus for the second time. And it was like, at that point, an ice cube's chance in hell, I'm coming back to Jesus. I was like full-blown atheist almost at that point. But it was like God met me and picked me back up. I mean, that's what, and okay, crazy stories there. Crazy story. I gotta get past this. All right. And also, I mean, one of the biggest monsters in my life going on too, that I cannot be open book about. I'm open book about everything in my life. There's one thing I can't. I was also, throughout all this, was really involved in rescuing women and children in human sex trafficking. And that's a whole monster that we can't get to. Okay. And so, but that was such a breaking point with my daughter. And okay. But then it's like Jesus met me. I was at the bottom. And I was also in the process of selling my business to my right-hand man. Okay. My partner that I brought on later. Okay. My cousin. He was actually my cousin, but he was way more than a cousin. He was like a brother. I would call him my own personal Jesus Christ. He was always like my biggest believer. He was always just, and man, and he was like, I saw in my mind at the time, I thought like how God worked in his family and with his marriage. This one of the most craziest stories you'll ever hear. Insane, like insane. That he somehow made his marriage work, and they're still married and doing good. But, I started realizing that my cousin, who's my brother, that I had he was like the one guy on earth that I trusted at that point, I would say. Okay. Because I had been burned by so many people my whole life. This whole process, there's so much to unpack with all this. And he's my brother. I mean, we were so tight. But I came to realize over time, and as I was selling him my company, that he's, you have that friend that you think is closer than a brother, and then you realize, and even in their own mind, they're not trying to be hurtful or anything, but you realize that I soon realized, I don't know if you guys have ever had a friend like this that you just thought was the closest friend in the world to you. But then you realize that everybody in your life, everybody, my kids, all my friends, everyone at my office that I had established, okay, he was always having to defend me with them. And he would make it out like he was going crazy. Like, why do all these people hate you so much? And he's my biggest defender. And then you realize, oh, no, it's just everybody in my life that he's also in their life. All of a sudden, it gets real weird. And so I realized I had to cut off everybody in my life that he was a part of, because it was just toxic as it gets. And at the time, I was also running an orphanage in Africa, in Kenya, the poorest place in Africa. Total shit show, this orphanage. Okay. And all the orphanages are shit shows. You just can't get around it. You realize that after a time. And they're all basically human sex trafficking rings, for one. And just corrupt because you have to be there. Otherwise, because the government's corrupt. And you have to like pay off the government and deal with that. And you have to have people running the orphanage who will keep the government off you. You have to like play this game. All right. And there's like no way around it. Unless you want to try and go to war, I guess, with the government and take it over or something. Like that's so going in there, the magic being worked there. It just completely, this orphanage was crashing and burning so hard. It's just mind blowing that it was even, the only reason why it was still going was because the founders' hearts were so, all in and in the right place, but they're crazy. Okay. It was so weird because this orphanage could never get any money. They could never raise money. They're so broke and so beyond desperate. And it was so weird. Like, a school and an orphanage of 350 children and 50 employees was begging, like they were self-funding the damn thing, like for years. They just couldn't be, and all the missionaries that would go, they wouldn't stick. It like wouldn't stick. They couldn't, all the churches that were supporting, it was like always short-lived. What's going on there? So I'm like having to probe hard with and you just realize these people are they're out there, but their heart's in the right place. They're not stealing money, and their messaging and communication, disaster. They just couldn't, but they were great people. It's just like crazy though. Okay. And so I went in and embarked to try and like deal with that with them, which was really hard on a personal level, on the people that founded this orphanage. And then, but dealing with the real stuff, we had to deal with the real stuff, which is dealing with the government, dealing with the people that are in control of the land deed. Because even though they had like tons of legal paperwork that they own the land, nope, they didn't own it because they didn't have the right in. So we had to get in there and work. And I just saw magic being worked. We implemented the EOS system, the entrepreneurial operating system, and it transformed. Complete accountability for every toilet paper roll, for every, there's so much theft because everyone's poor. It's just survival. And they're like experts at bullshitting you and you can't trust anyone. And it's just insane, the dynamic. But we created systems and processes for everything. We established a leadership team, but you still have to have like a superintendent guy. And the superintendent guy, the leader of the orphanage has to be in with the government, and which means they're always corrupt, and they're experts. They would even like come up, pose as pastors and godly men. Okay. But then you find like, they always were raping the girls. So just getting a director of the orphanage who wasn't raping the girls was like a huge win. Okay. And then, all right, even if he's not doing anything, but then establishing a leadership team for people on his level that are his equals, he wasn't going to do it. And it was just nuts. The whole thing, making it work. We did it. Establish a leadership team. This nun lady, was on the same level as the director. We made it happen. Okay. And she had a voice that it's not going to get shut down. And she could, she could ring the bell if there's a problem, on the same level of authority as the director. And so we had a full blown leadership team, and we created systems and process for everything. So there wasn't corruption in the ordering of items and materials. I mean, it was just magic. But it was like my cousin, was in there too. And the dynamic got weird, and I had to back away because of the founders, but we left it, and I replaced myself essentially, okay, with somebody. But at this point, I sold my business, and that was okay. And I also had like a fiance, like I thought God, again, is 2.0. God gave me a wife, and it was just like, and I didn't force it this time. I was just going to let it happen. And then that, it's just like, boom, and at that was the last straw. So I thought it was the last straw that broke the camel's back. And it was like I died, cutting off everybody in my life. And okay. And I was just like a shell. At that point. And then Luna happened. And all the people that I had gotten into Luna, I had a little crypto trading group with like millionaires, several, that I was helping, just ABCs into crypto. Got them right on in there to Voyager. So I was in on Voyager, so bullish on it. Since before it was Voyager, it was called, what was Voyager called? It was called something else, back in 2017, and then Voyager bought them and became Voyager token. And, got all those people into, and I was early into Luna. I was in everything in Luna right there. I was in almost every protocol the whole time. There was a good solid year that I was in Luna. I was right in there in Anchor Protocol. And you see the fund, you saw the fund that was paying out the 20% interest. Okay. And what we saw when the Luna rave came was that fund that was funding the money to pay the interest was dwindling. And so Do Kwon, worked his magic and kept refunding that. Okay. What people didn't realize, before UST went from a $1 billion market cap to a $20 billion market cap, like overnight, it was like a 2 or 3 month process there. Okay. Before that happened, that Anchor Protocol revenue paying the interest was growing because it was an income generating protocol from the lending side of it. Okay. That's what people didn't realize. Like, Do Kwon had so much vision, and he was always doing. So I thought, right, by everybody, and so obviously I've got we haven't even hit on so many other things, mental issues to work through here, but I was just a hardcore believer, okay, in Luna and what he was doing just for the future of decentralization. Like, he was actually taking steps in that direction. It was happening. Okay. And he was he was going to have 100 coins on there where we could have a lending protocol. That was his long-term vision. And there was the lending protocol. It was a pretty good one, funding the the interest being paid to the UST holders. That's what funded it. That's how that worked. It wasn't just whatever people say, wasn't just a Ponzi or whatever. No, it was like, and he was making steps to solidify things, and, you know, and then boom. And that was, I even had, you know, I had so many people in that, including my ex-wife, okay, that I had just paid out like $400,000 to, you know, to pay off like our marriage settlement. And she put it, I didn't even know, she put it all in there. Like she said, she had it with her stock guy too, but then she ended up selling out all of her stocks and putting it in there. And then she even eventually refinanced her home, took out some cash and put that in there. Okay. And then, you know, it was around that time I was getting excited about DeFi Kingdoms, because I was always looking for those projects you believe in. And then the Harmony Bridge hack happened. But it was, so before Luna happened though, it was like, I remember one day when all this stuff really hit me with my cousin, with just my whole life, just looking back at my whole life, looking back at everything. And I just died. My soul, and it's literally like my soul and spirit died. And I can't explain it. Well, then Luna happened right after, a little bit, you know, few months after that. And then the Harmony Bridge hack, and then Voyager. Okay. And here's now where we're getting really real. I didn't get out of bed for like a few months. And didn't see any way out. I saw there was no way out. There is no way I can continue to live my life. So I thought at the time. And yeah, like at this point, every vision or dream or passion or purpose for living died. It's like there is no drive. There is no spark there is no life in here. But my heart's still beating. I'm still here. My body's still here. But there's no life in me. And there was just like no escape. It was weird. So we're going to talk some mental health here and get real. But, you know, one thing that was weird is I'm sitting there questing my heroes on DeFi Kingdoms. That's what I was, and listening to YouTubers like I had for years, all day in bed on crypto. Still, you know, trying to just make it one day at a time. And okay, and I'm just sitting there in bed questing my heroes, and I'm listening to those AMAs and just believing in that team all the more, thinking, gosh dang it, there's no reason why this team isn't, you know, in the top 100 or top 50. This is crazy. All the false FUD coming against the team. It's BS. Okay. It was about a year ago. Now, a little over a year, something in me got me out of bed and started this freaking YouTube channel. So I started doing streams on DeFi Kingdoms to come to the defense of the team. And I had already spoken with Frisky Fox about business, you know, previously. Business and you know, explaining to him the Charles Hoskinson effect. If you don't get in front of the FUD coming against you, your project's going to die. Like, you got to get in front of it or it's going to die. And the Cardano would be not even top 500 on the market cap if it wasn't for Charles Hoskinson getting in front of the FUD on a regular basis, taking it head on, bring it on. You got to take it head on and set the record straight. Otherwise, believe me, Cardano would not still be around if it wasn't for that one thing alone, period. Okay. And so I'm like, team, what are you doing? You got to get a hold of George. You got to reach out to Hustle, with Crypto Banter. You got to hit up all these YouTubers and set the record straight. You guys aren't a rug pull. Frisky Fox isn't a rug pull. You guys are grinding. What are you doing? Come on. I was all over them. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I told Frisky, like, consider it a job application. So I got a vision. I got a little vision here. I'm a dead man sitting in bed who caught a little vision. Oh, I mean, I'll become the Charles Hoskinson for DeFi Kingdoms. And take it to the bank, DeFi Kingdoms. If that happens, we'll be a top 100 project. Boom. Like that's just, I'll work it, get in there, work my magic. All right, here we go. Come on. Do I have any magic left in me though? I mean that, so I start, reaching out to George. I'm in there, reaching, trying to hit him up, hitting up Hustle, hitting up all these YouTubers all the time, telling them about DeFi Kingdoms, set the record straight. All the people that funded the project, I'm in there trying to, trying to get other influencers out there, encourage them, get the Mythic Squad and some of those guys going, and build them up and try and keep this ecosystem going, because I saw the ecosystem dying. And it's like, man, this is like the best project I've ever seen in crypto. Like, as far as, I mean, and at least the team does weekly AMAs to communicate. Like, what? I don't get it. Just, what the heck? And so in my mind, it was like, it became almost like a vision or a calling. And then I started, we go down there to Miami, Decentral Miami at the end of November, and the magic happened. I connect, that's right there. I'm talking to BitBoy and Jet pops up, or I'm waiting in line to talk to BitBoy. And I'm like, who's this guy Jet? And it just like all these connections started to happen, connected with Altcoin Daily. All right. And really started. Okay. And I had just connected with George before that. Okay. Deeply about DeFi Kingdoms. Like, oh, so George was still like skeptical, but started building that relationship there a little bit. Tons of emails going back and forth, like volumes, probably more than he read even. Okay. And so I'm like telling Dreamer about this, you got to get in here and apply for this TV show, the next Crypto Gym. And I remember like Dreamer and Bolin, they're like, not sure. It was like weird vibes. And I didn't think they were going to do it. They weren't going to apply. And I was like freaking out. And I was all over them. Like, are you guys crazy? You guys need the exposure. What are you doing? You need to be getting out in front of George. You need to be doing this. You need to be getting on YouTube channels and spreading the word and the love about what you guys are doing. What are you doing? And boom, lo and behold, last minute, it was past the deadline, but Dreamer went ahead and applied, and it was just so, and then, I was just so excited. So much has been going, right? And the momentum's building. Okay. And, and I remember later on, I'm talking to Dreamer. This was like a little before 3XP. And, I was it's been the same message the whole time. You guys are killing me when it comes to communication and messaging. I would see interactions, with some of the team out there. And then I'd see people get pissed off at DeFi Kingdoms for whatever reason. And it was like the messaging, the connection. All right. And then people get pissed and leave. And we saw it, like we've seen it. People leaving the ecosystem like crazy. And it's like, and I'm trying to, but then, so I'm reaching out to Dreamer. Like, hey, Dreamer, like this is going on. There's issues. Like this still needs to be addressed. The issue of messaging and communication. Okay. With what's going on here. And then Dreamer just like was probably having a bad day that day and just unloads on me. And it's like, he accuses me of fudding the project. He said he's heard it from 20 people, 20 different separate people apparently have come to him saying, I'm fudding the project of DeFi Kingdoms, and he said, I'm fudding the project of DeFi Kingdoms to George. And then I realized, so imagine, you wake up, I at that point, George had been mentoring me on the channel. George has been mentoring me like in my life. And it's just been awesome. And, at one point in that mentorship involved George saying, stop doing DeFi Kingdoms. Stop covering. He said, George told me DeFi Kingdoms is dead. Like messaged it to me. Stop it. And I would push back on George. And at one point I thought George was going to wipe his hands clean of me and be done with me at one point, because I was not listening to him. Like, I just pictured him thinking in his mind that I'm not listening to George. And I was like, I'm wrecking my relationship with George, sticking up for DeFi Kingdoms. Okay. It's like, but I was able, he's cool. George has just been such a godsend. He's not like that. He's just cool. But I actually thought, I remember at one point, George was going to cut me off, like, and stop, like, in his mind, wasting my time on this guy, who's this crazy guy, Crypto Grady. Okay. And then to later here, I've like been practically dedicating what was left of my life to DeFi Kingdoms. To hear Dreamer say that was like such a blow. I just remember just being so crushed. Here I am thinking and hoping, like, it was like they even saw the magic being done, in decentral Miami and everything. Like, who the heck has been telling Dreamer that I'm just a FUD? There's Grady again fudding the project? Really? Okay. Huh. Who's telling him that? So to realize how disconnected I was, like, this whole time in my mind, my goal was just in hopes that they would see my heart towards them, my dedication, and for them to notice and for them to ask me, to come on and help the team with this. And, but instead, what was happening was they weren't even in left field. They weren't even in the ballpark. They weren't even on planet Earth. They weren't even in the solar system. They weren't even in the same galaxy. That disconnected from my heart, from what I've been doing, and it's not like I expected anything. I didn't expect them to bring me on the team, and never wanted to pressure that. Never wanted to pressure that at all. I didn't want to put pressure on them. Like, I wanted them to ask me, but for him to take it as far as he did, and I really realized, like, whoa, Dreamer really actually thinks this. Like, it's beyond just having a bad day. He actually thinks this. Like, so that was hard. And I realized, at that point, I'm going to have to figure this out, what I'm going to do. And the whole time, all throughout this, the whole time, every day, I still haven't really opened my mail since March of 2022. Why haven't I opened my mail? like clean my house? It's because it's like when there's no will to live and you think, well, like, we haven't even gotten into my, 2021 taxes and 2022 taxes. Okay. It's like, I won't even be here anyways by then. It's like, that's what I dealt with every single day up until now, up until recently. Okay. Things are changing we're talking mental health here in crypto. And okay. And so I just thought, it's like trying to find a way out, and that will to live, that drive. This is everything up to this point, pretty much, until kind of a little bit more recently, has been, I'm just like trying to get through the day. We'll just say that. And okay. But one thing I couldn't deny the whole time was that the magic was always there. Every time I turn on this camera, every time I turn on the YouTube screen, baby, I come alive. I can't explain it. I'm the deadest man. I'm deader than a doornail laying here in bed. And then I go to a conference or I turn on the YouTube screen and it's like, ding, like a light switch. I can't explain it. It's like a calling. Okay. Here also, I can't explain. George hit me up. The connections. George just loving on me. He's not trying to get anything out of me. Nothing in return. Zero. He's just there to be a help. Period. And then all this with Jet, the next crypto gym, and Alpha District. Okay. And then we're connecting with BitBoy. All right. And gonna be on Around the Blockchain. And we had Crypto Lifer on. We had Seth with Mind Your Biz. I mean, it's just endless. Loudmouth. George is giving me personal invites, and Jet is just like. And so when I look at somebody like BitBoy, I watched him go from nothing all the way to what he became. I watched George go from nothing. Like, I'm making fun of the guy. I remember when he was first, when I first came across his channel and he was a nobody. And like, who's this guy? They didn't have the tools that I have. Not only do I have the tools from life experience and business tools, like the highest level of business tools you could have, period, in the world, like to build the highest level of business development experience. I've done it. I've already hit that like pinnacle of success, nothing to prove. And I've got George giving me like the plug and play method on how to build a YouTube channel. Okay. Like all this love from everyone, guys like Loudmouth that I want to hit on, just loving on me. Okay. And it's like, why can't I just come alive? Then I got Kong. We haven't even talked about Kong yet, who's just 100% there to be a blessing. And that's how it started. And he's like, he becomes my therapist. We talk on the phone every day. He's like my own personal Jesus Christ 2.3.0 here. Okay. And just such a good dude. And it's like, Grady, man, come on, come alive. Come on. Wake up, Grady. Wake up. Are you in there still? Wake up, Grady. Come on, baby. It's all good. Yeah, it's like along the way, you take blows and it's like discouraging. Okay. Because it's like this debate. Should I do YouTube or not do YouTube? Should I do YouTube or not YouTube? Like, what am I going to do with my life? And it's like the universe is calling me to do this, period. And not just on crypto. Okay. We're going to talk about this. All right. Okay. So I'm flying there to Rare Evo, baby, Denver. And I'm like getting serious. We're getting serious here. All right. We're taking notes. We're developing a plan, and I'm getting real with myself, with my headspace. And my goal at Rare Evo was to connect with Kong. All right. Number one, connect with Kong. Number two, like on a deep level, plan the future. How's this going to work? What's our vision? What are we doing? And really get real with this. Okay. And then number two, always going to these conferences that's so beneficial is connecting with all these people out there. Doug Hype was out there, baby. We had Cassius, Rat. We have just, awesome people, some new gaming dudes. And then our goal was also to get some content, maybe for the channel, some interviews, content, gaming. George has got us helping, with Cryptos RS Plus doing this too. And all these different things. Okay. Doing a gaming channel on George's channel. Just all these amazing things. Like amazing going on. Just happening without me even really trying. Zero, like hardly any effort. I mean, there's effort, definitely effort there. But it's all just happens. It's like, it's not like I'm grinding, like hustling. I'm just like doing my thing. And then it's like falling on my lap. And it's like, okay, come on, Grady. Just wait till we actually are grinding. Okay. And I can't wait to go catch. Oh, Doug Hype, baby. Okay. All right. And I want to catch up to the chat here. We're getting there. Anybody just coming in, make sure you start over. You can't come in now. You got to start this thing over. 2x speed, baby. Okay. So So that was my focus. Let's get to know Kong. And partnerships never work. But are we going to get serious about this YouTube channel, and what's our vision? What are we going to do? All right. And really, I had it well thought out, laid out there. I had a plan. Okay. And also, connect with these guys, but that was my biggest focus, connect with Kong. And I'm always getting real with Kong about all these things that we talked about on this video so far. So Kong knows even more. Okay. And he's just like a therapist to me. He's just it's weird. I can't explain it. It's just pieces put in place, the magic, and so like, why can't I come alive? That was my, I could read it. I wrote out this long thing, like, why can't I come alive? And I laid out all these things, like it's like a mercy or something, or like a calling, the universe, and trying to get to the bottom of this, like my own mental health and headspace. Lately we've been going back to CrossFit a little bit, which I'm so unbelievably dead. It's like everything has to be so hard, like in this world. It's just how it is. And then once you finally, you push through and you succeed, you're probably going to get proud. You're going to have to get knocked down on your face. Okay. And so I'm out there talking with Ben, totally connected with Ben, BitBoy, who, by the way, would not touch alcohol. He, seemed sober, but here's what Ben reminded right before the show. It hit me. I was talking to Kong, actually. It hit me. Like, I when I read this morning, when they said, BitBoy relapsed on his drugs, I was like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because you kind of saw him going crazy. He's like going crazy. He just went nuts over this last year or 9 months or however long it's been. And he'll say things just nuts. He'll say crazy things. But I really saw it. I mean, we spent a good amount of time talking on this past Thursday night. And I really saw, what he reminded me of was one of my buddies who lost his mind, who was like, your cult church leader guy, one of my best friends, hardcore preacher guy, and got accused of all kinds of things and had like a revival happening. He had the church at Kent, Ohio, and like he would go street preaching with the banners and all that. And later, kind of after that, after he went through his stuff and then I went through my stuff, and then we became really close. He's a business guy too, helped me with all that. And then, but I just saw him like losing his mind over time of like, he's always being accused, but he's like, you're crazy, narcissistic type guy out there. Like, okay. And I don't know. You just kind of got to let it work itself out with a guy like that. And so that's what BitBoy reminded me of. Not somebody relapsing, because it hit me like he was not drinking. He wouldn't touch alcohol. And he did seem kind of like crazy though. Like he was, and so we talked about it. We talked about with BitBoy, like how to overcome that in his position. And and I think I've talked on this channel in the past before about how like I'm terrified for BitBoy, because I saw it coming. Anytime that which exalts itself will get humbled. Always. It's like, and if you haven't experienced it yet, look out, because it's coming. You exalt yourself, you get humbled. Boom. Is he a scammer? All this stuff that people say, nothing would surprise me these days, but I don't think so. So there's hope here with BitBoy, I can tell you, because if he can get broken and harness that and get a little wiser from it, okay, and humble himself, keep his face in the dust, but that's going to be a process, man. And it could take decades. Who knows? I've seen it. It's me too. It's a process, this breaking process that's just whatever reason, a rule in the universe. We see it, especially in this day and age. That which exalts itself gets put on its face every time. And so this is what we're seeing. Do I think, so I'm not sure what the heck's going on. This came out of nowhere. So I really, really connected with AJ. But it did seem weird that DZ was like standoffish, even with BitBoy. Okay. But I don't know that. I don't even know if that was actually the case. But BitBoy saying TJ, which is like his partner, and like, where's TJ? I've asked Kong like 50 times, where the heck's TJ been? Where's TJ been? And like, even where's BitBoy? Like, we see DZ more than BitBoy on his own show. And so this is all weird. And it feels like to me that these guys, Justin Williams, I guess, and TJ, and who is that guy on there with him today besides DZ? So like Aaron or somebody, that other guy that was on the show. That's like, used to direct movies or something. Like, was a director or something, or a movie, something like with Stranger Things, that guy. Whoever that guy is. It seems like something's off. And it kind of seems like maybe BitBoy, and I guess there's tons of rumors going out there against BitBoy and stuff. And I guess they're bad. I couldn't find them. Like, I watched Crypto Jeb go on there, and he didn't know. Everyone's saying they hear rumors, but they don't know, but they're not going to share them. So I don't even know what the rumors are, but it sounds bad. Like, it's the way it sounds is that Ben, apparently has done something so bad, like just something really bad that puts the whole thing like in a potential litigation case or something. And they had to cut Ben off. Like, that's the vibe they're putting out. They got to like cut Ben off because litigation is coming our way, like something really bad. I don't know though. Nothing would surprise me. I don't think this would be BitBoy's tone, Ben's tone right here. If that were the case. If it was like a Sam Bankman-Fried, a gotcha, caught, busted, Ben wouldn't be saying this, I don't think. And so then it's like, okay, well, is like the hit network trying to just like actually do a coup, just take it over? Like, do they think that that's going to go well without BitBoy? Like, BitBoy built that thing. Ben built it. Like, he's the guy. How's this going to go without him? I can tell you guys this, like, there's a lot of hate out there with Ben, and some of it, like, he can just be crazy. And it's like, what the hell? Why did you say this, that, and the other thing? But I know so many people that he's helped, so many people that he's served and helped and build their channels out there. So many people out there that he's just been a blessing to. And I don't think he's some nefarious scammer. That's my 2 cents. So best of hopes and wishes to this whole situation. So with me and my channel, Ben, by the way, at Rare Evo, I mean, we had a great conversation, long. So, I mean, maybe he's relapsed and done something crazy. I don't know. But I'm kind of not so sure if that's the case. So, all right. So here's the deal. Kong has to get here's what we came to. Kong needs to get his personal life in order. He needs to focus 99% of his time on his personal life, period. All right. So he doesn't have time to be doing this. But down the road, we're still hoping, right? So that's still the vision and the goal. He's still my right-hand man. Like, he's still the dude. He's doing good. It was awesome time. Phenomenal time with Kong. And I would love even for him to be able to quit his job and come full time someday, So that's the goal. Like, we want to work towards that, but it's not happening now. There's no way, Jose, not even close. Like, he's got to focus on himself. And okay. And he didn't want me to disclose anything else there. Like, he's got a family, he's got his personal life, and he needs to focus on that. Period. Wife, kids, personal life, job, get all that, live your life. And then we're going to keep building. So Kong and I are going to keep building our relationship, though. And so the goal is someday to get him full time, but and I was thinking possibly maybe now, so that was kind of where this was going. Like, there is an outside chance we could start talking about him going full time and all these things going, and I'm constantly being pulled in so many different directions. I need to bring focus on what it is we're doing. This has already gone for an hour and 21 minutes. Unbelievable. Yeah. Much respect to Kong. Oh, baby. Christian Peter in the house. Christian, can we go live sooner instead of 10 p.m. Grady time? Can we do 9 p.m.? Did you respond? Okay. All right. There's more to talk through with this. I don't want to keep going too long. So here's what I know. It's like, I feel like it just keeps coming more and more solidified in my being, that it's like the universe is calling me to this. And it was like solidified all the more. This was a phenomenal trip at Rare Evo, phenomenal connections all over the place. And Kong's an absolute freaking legend. That's right. Knee-friendly workouts, man. Okay. And so there's like, after meditating so deeply and brainstorming so hard on just my own fundamental being of myself, it's like, I feel like I'm called to do this. So what exactly to focus on? Well, I'm going to focus on helping George for sure. George has just created a DYOR agency. Do your own is what he's calling it, DYOR agency, which I gave them a really hard time about that title. But he doesn't want to do paid, he for a long time, he hasn't let projects pay him to promote their project. He stopped that a long time ago. But he's also in this mode where he wants to help these good projects. And so, especially after doing things like the next crypto gym, he's like in this place of wanting, to help these projects, and all these projects are willing to pay influencers to promote their project. And so after a while, he's been thinking through this for a long time. Okay. He's decided to start an agency where the agency will vet the project. They do a deep dive into the project, and they even do a book report on the project, and they vet the project and make sure it's a legit project, and finds the legit ones that have just already right there on his lap come to him wanting to market. And then he wants to find YouTubers that are okay with marketing projects. He doesn't want to market the projects on his channel, but he's not saying that's wrong to do. He's just creating, and I'm helping him create systems and processes, okay, to make this awesome and do it the right way, where he gets projects on board and creates value to the projects, okay, with all of his connections and partnerships that he already has. And to help those projects thrive and sustain, creating value to the projects, and then connecting with other YouTubers and giving value to the YouTubers as well. And then I'm like digging deep with him on this. And then finding those right connections. And so he's got it called DYOR Agency. I'm definitely going to be helping him with that. And then other things with George and Jet, the Next Crypto Gym and Alpha District. Okay. And then the channel. So I need help on the channel. So one thing's for sure, regardless, is that it'll be easy for me to keep the channel going, you know, as it's been this whole time. Just keep doing what I've been doing and keep, you know, grinding. But I really want to start to bring focus and direction on what I'm doing and do good and do right by others. And follow those core values, baby, the golden rule. And really, it's needed. It's needed in this atmosphere in crypto. Doing it the right way. Doing a channel the right way. It's not money driven. It's passion driven. I've never made a dime, by the way, on this channel, ever. The only money I've made is from DFK Helper hooking me up a little bit, I guess, from helping bring people on or something. Clicking my link. That's the only money I've ever made. You know what? Was it DFK? I think I got $75 one time from referring people on to DFK too. That's the only money I've made on the channel, and that's not going to change unless it's done right. So it's not money driven. It's vision and passion driven. Obviously, the long-term goal is to be able to make a living, you know, doing this, but to do it the right way. That truly follows what is best, what's right. So, you know, that's kind of where it's at. Want to build this thing up. Want to focus on that. Want to keep bringing focus to that. Oh, baby. Okay. Kong is a freaking legend. I love you guys. Wowie, freaking love you. Normally we'd be watching you right now, wouldn't we? Oh, man. Sell some merch. Who knows, man? Maybe someday, baby. When it all comes together and feels right. Ah, oh, tune fed. So you guys, the community, I'm seeing all these names right here. These guys that have been by my side. And it's never been about me. It's always been about helping DeFi Kingdoms, helping these other any of the good projects that are out there, the good people that are out there, the good content creators that are out there. That's what it's all about. And, oh, baby, is it Cassius? Did I just see Cassius somewhere? I really love that guy. Connected with Cassius. Oh, man. I love you. Huddle the future, baby. I thought I saw Cassius in the chat, man. Vibes. I love you guys. Okay, so I'm going to be talking more about focus. How can we help the space, the crypto space? How can we drop the alpha? Be a blessing. Find those good projects with strong, solid core fundamentals, core values. Okay, so I'm going live with KP in 30 minutes, baby, right? 27 minutes. Going live with KP. So much going on all over the place. There's several things I even forgot. I mean, the trip was awesome. Shout out to Ogre, baby, always there. Just he's driving everybody around. He's everybody's taxi. Doug Hype, Diamond Hands, baby, love that guy. And the Undead Blocks guys were there. Kyle, man, just it's so good connecting. It's like family. Dr. J, baby. Richard, man. Oh, wowie. There's a lot to come for this game, DeFi Kingdoms. I love you, man. Oh, Kong. Love you. All right. I guess I'll end it. There's probably a lot of good things. It's like I want to go through these comments. Oh, buckle up. That's right. There's so much more, guys, I actually wanted to share, but it would take me like 30 hours. 5 kids that I know of. Okay. Yeah. Hey, good words there, vibes. I love it. Hey, lawyers aren't so bad. What did I say about lawyers? Man. Oh, yeah, Job. Oh, jeez. Like you guys, there's so much more there that I can't even open up about. Yeah, Job, man. I love you guys. All right. Yeah. So I definitely caught a vision. There's too many marriages out there struggling. There's too many divorces. There's too many geek nerd guys out there in crypto for me not to bring out those 4 years of hell that I went through. I'm going to someday do a dating channel, marriage and dating, male, female psychology channel. It's coming. And also fantasy football. I'm going to do a stream tomorrow on fantasy football. It'll be my one and only stream this year. And then maybe next year, we'll see. We might pick that back up. I caught that vision too along the way, but can't do that now, but we're going to do one video on it. Okay. Oh, yeah, this is just over my 1 year anniversary streaming. Like, I think I started in July, at the end of July last year, maybe. Okay, there he is. There's Cassius, baby. Yeah, man. So that's one thing is it's like I've already done it. I've already built a big company and made it millions and millions of dollars and was the guy, like the rock star. I was the one speaking at all the business conferences and the insurance conferences and everyone looking up to and trying to get advice and, blowing me up all the time. And it's like, boom. But then what happens? You get knocked on your face every time, even if your heart's in the right place. Was Tosh in here too? Orphanage DAO. I love it. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. I love you guys. All right. All right. So we're going live. Love you, Sticks in turn, man. Sergeant Filthy McNasty, all you guys mean so much to me. I did. I caught a vision, and it's not ego. It's like, this isn't something I forced. It's not forced. Like in the past, always had to hustle, like, and just work it to get in there just to have the opportunity to do something. This time, it's just like bump on my lap. It's not forced. And it's not my ego. It's not about my ego. Now, I'm sure, are we going to carve more things out of here? I don't know. It's like my ego died. I feel like my ego is immune to, it's like dead as a doornail. What you get is right here, the good, bad, and the ugly, and that will never change. And I'll never be money driven. And so I'm like assessing all these things. And it's like I had visions, just aha moments over these past. I mean, I have them from time to time, but it was like hardcore visions happening. It's like, Grady, you're called to do this. Do this. It was like I was getting answered. It's almost like I'm praying, looking for what I need to do with my life and how to get my life back in order. And I got confirmation after confirmation after and caught visions of, Grady, you're right where you're supposed to be, right here. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not going to bullshit about that. I'm done with that. It's like, wow. There's so much confirmation, even though it's like, man, I wish Kong could be here by my side full time right now. But we decided together, no, now's not the time. Not yet. Not yet. And so it's always like, okay, all right, got to find focus. I got to find my path through this. And I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. But I want to find focus. KG baby, let's go in the house. All right. I actually caught this weird vision when I was talking with BitBoy, believe it or not. I don't know if I'm ready to open up about all the weird stuff, visions of stuff. Man, I love you, KP. Let's go. We're getting on with KP. Round 2 with KP. Love you guys. Crypto Grady out. More to come. We're going to dig deeper. We're going to work through this. I didn't even share everything I wanted to, but I think we're good for now. I love you guys. Crypto Grady out.